This podcast is a Sepulveda Sanchez Law production.
As an attorney, you have a duty to protect your client's best interests.
But how do you protect them from themselves?
Paul Vega is a structured settlement advisor who has been in the financial services industry for over 20 years. He is committed to working with attorneys and their clients in order to advise them on the best options for structuring their fees and settlements. He is the owner of the Vega Settlement Group based in Los Angeles, California, and has worked with award-winning plaintiffs' attorneys across the country. I'm Gabriel Sepulveda Sanchez, CEO and founder of Sepulveda Sanchez Law,
An award-winning catastrophic injury plaintiffs law firm.
Sepulveda Sanchez Law has earned a spot on the Inc. 5000 list as one of the fastest growing law firms in the nation.
In each episode of the podcast,
I selectively choose market leaders, entrepreneurs, and self-development experts to share their insights on how to become a better lawyer, business owner, and person. This is Beyond the Bar. Enjoy the show. Thanks for coming on, Paul. Appreciate it, man.
Gabe, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Yeah, definitely, man. So, thanks for, I want to say, first of all, you've been great, man. I've known you for like 5 years now, and it's always been a pleasure talking to you. I know you've hooked me up with some good financial advice, and you really came through in that wrongful death case I had. That was great. The clients are really thankful. They just celebrated, I guess his death anniversary was like the April 6th, or just a few days ago. So, they gave me a call, and they said, thank you so much. We took care of that kid. And we took care of the family, man. So, I forgot to tell you that.
Yeah, my pleasure.
So definitely. And so, how's everything going with you, man?
Good, man. Thank God. Yeah, everything's good. It's been, pandemic was a little rough.
Yeah.
I think for everybody, right?
Yeah.
But it's back in the office and we're moving ahead and moving strong.
That's
a
cool.
lot of people are settling cases. We're getting a lot of calls now about, personal injury cases, employment cases, work comp cases.
Cool.
So things are busy.
Yeah. Man. That was 2020 was an interesting year, man. I remember just thinking that I was like, there was about a month where there was just no call, the phone wasn't ringing. I remember we were doing okay, February, March when the shutdown happened, we were okay. We still had cases, but in June, it was scary. Just this is the first time I've heard it, the silence of no phone ringing since I started the practice up. So that was a trip, man. So I always tell people, I'm like, I think how we've grown so much from today in the last 2 years is because, you were either going to do two different things. You're going to play defense during 2020, or you're just going to hey, I'm going to double down. Right. So I think what we did it was just basically double down our marketing and just really go hard, man. Right. We went extra hard. We signed up some really big cases during the pandemic, and you see a lot of firms that didn't make it out of that, but we did, so that's a blessing. But before we get to our topic, what do you think? What brought you to this today, man? How'd you guys get to that 2020 period?
It was rough. Yeah, we especially obviously in our industry, people were getting offers that were low. Insurance companies knew they kind of had us. The attorneys that I work with, they had them, and people weren't sure. So, would you settle for less? Maybe.
Yeah.
People didn't know what was going to happen. So we found ourselves as structured settlement advisors looking at things that most lawyers would settle for big numbers, taking very little or not settling, just playing tight and hanging tight and waiting. So things were different for us.
Yeah.
We had a couple big cases settled right before the pandemic. So, we were okay as well. But the industry itself was really shooken.
Yeah, I think if you didn't manage, I told someone this, if you didn't manage your cash flow good, if you weren't a good business manager or just managing your cash flow for that year, you were going to be pretty much fucked. Out there.
No, you seriously.
I think what saved us was that, especially our type of practices or our type of businesses, because we were it's all contingency fee based. So, with the shortage of settlements coming in, if you didn't have a cash reserve to get you through that 6 months to a year, it was going to be rough. But it sounds like, hey, we both made it.
Yeah, man.
I know I've come out a lot stronger for it, and it's cool to see two Latino business owners succeed, man. It's just cool, and it's really awesome that we're surrounded by successful people in our culture.
Yeah,
You know, man.
absolutely.
So cheers to that, bro.
Cheers, man. Cheers.
Yeah, man. So everything's been good. Business is growing. But what I wanted to discuss today, because we wanted to structure this topic around the wrongful death, and that's what the topic we're exploring the last month here. First things first, how did you get into structured settlements?
That's a great question. Yeah. So about, I would say almost 16 years ago, I started off, I was a financial planner, and that's my background. So I got licensed in 1999, end of 98, beginning 99, as a financial planner. I worked at a bank for 13 years managing people's money. And towards 2007, I got a phone call from a personal injury attorney, a friend of mine, asking if I could settle, structure somebody's case. And I had no idea what it was. So I looked at the opportunity and I thought, God, this is great. There's nobody who speaks Spanish. There's nobody who has a financial planning background and is able to look at this holistically and say, look, we need somebody to sit with these clients the way that you guys have and walk with them and show them how this money can be effectively used for the rest of their life. So, we took a step and I built a team and we all got our licenses together and we started moving forward. It was awesome. It was a really good experience.
That's awesome. So you've been in the business since structural settlements. What year did you start? I
think it was 2008.
2008. Okay.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. It's because it's been, it's over, what is that, 12 years, something like that?
Yeah.
Have you seen any big differences in settlements? Did you think we're getting more settlements back in 2008 to?
Different. We're getting more settlements now.
Really?
We're getting more settlements now.
Bigger settlements now?
Bigger settlements now.
Not just for your business, but in whole, you think that this cases are getting bigger now?
And possibly it could be because social media's got us, people are posting what we settled and we're able to see, and it's not just looking at the journal at the end of the month, who's closed the big ones. But I think that, everybody's aware of who's doing what, so we're able to see more now. So yeah, I think there's more cases being settled. And I think there's more people that aren't afraid to come to an attorney.
Yeah.
I think there's probably been, especially here, where I grew up in East LA and in El Sereno, where you were afraid. I wasn't, if somebody hurts you and you're not sure, you don't know to go to an attorney.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people now are making themselves aware, so they're able to go. They're able to go, talk to somebody and find out if there's a problem and figure out if there's a way to, compensate it.
Yeah, especially if you're, Latino or you're not, if you're not a citizen, people are the last thing they want to do is talk to any lawyers. So they're like, I'm all right. I'm going to shake it off, man. We're good. We're good. So yeah, it's true. That could be a big part of it. And people were more confident in hiring a lawyer. People know their rights. So that's a good thing that, we're seeing people that are not afraid to consult us and stuff. Right. So how many of your clients are Hispanic? Is it mostly Hispanic, or what do you think?
Oh man, I have obviously being here in Los Angeles, and me specifically working with plaintiff, lawyers. I would say probably 50%, which is a lot. I think.
No, that's great. That's great, man.
That's a lot.
Great. That's the same thing with me. I think most of I would say even higher, maybe 70% of my clients are Hispanic, and I think we have a percentage that are Caucasians, African Americans, but it's mostly Hispanic, man.
Yeah.
I think it's because of probably just the demographics of where we're at. Plus, we are Latino too, so they're probably gravitate towards us. But, so you've been in this business for a long time. You've been in the personal injury business longer than I have. What have you noticed people do before you got involved, or what have you seen as far as they get this windfall settlement?
Craziest stuff ever. This is how I actually got into the business. So a plaintiff's attorney, PI guy called me, said, "Hey, Paul, can you meet with my client? He's about to get a settlement." So I walk in, I come from my office at the bank, and I shoot on over. And the guy goes, "Hey, I don't really want to talk to you. However, they've asked me to talk to you." He's like, I've already spent the money." Oh. So I look over at the attorney. He's like, "What do you mean you spent the money? We haven't even signed for the checks yet." And
I've done that too, man. I spent the money up here, man.
and I'll tell you too. It's inherently, it's hard to hold on to money. You know what I mean? If it's in your checking account, We're gonna use it. Like that's what, so you got a budget. You know, you need somebody to help you build a plan. And realistically, like I feel like what we do is we help you play defense against yourself, like playing defense against you, so that you have some structure to use this money. So, anyways, the guy comes in and he's like, "I spent the money already. What'd you spend it on?"
Yeah.
You know, he had a $200,000 settlement coming. He was getting $200,000, and he had spent $80,000 on earrings and $50,000 on a used Corvette.
Oh shit!
So
Man, you're and the weekend in LA, and you need a couple bottle services and a quick trip to Vegas, man. There goes your case. There goes your settlement, man.
Gabe, I've actually seen a client, lady who we offered a structured settlement to, go through $3 million in 6 months.
Whoa.
And
You saw them go through $3 million in 6 months?
$3 million. It was a Latina lady. She had a daughter who had special needs, and it was sad. It hurt, like knowing that we could have tried. You know, I gave her tons of options, tons of opportunities, but she was just like, "No, I don't want to do that."
Yeah.
And when it all came down, she was gambling. She gambled the money away.
Wow.
Yeah, man.
That's
So
crazy,
I
man.
mean, we are a very, very important piece of the puzzle. Once the case is settled, I feel.
I believe it. You know, I going back to my experience, you know, starting my own practice and having that big settlement come in. I was 29 years old, you know, and I got made, you know, 4 times as much salary I've had, you know, as a junior associate. And I'm like, oh, so you know, it's just, we're human beings, we're not rational sometimes.
No.
And we're emotional creatures, and we just think, oh, you know, that money, it's okay, we'll have it. And then people ask you for a loan. Or I'm gonna go to Vegas and hang out. I'm gonna go get a new car.
Yeah,
it's so easy to spend $100,000, man. It's not that hard.
Cars,
it's not that.
watches, Gucci belts, suits. I mean, these things,
dude,
and especially for us, like it's fun to live.
Yeah.
It's fun to live, but there's got to be some structure behind that.
Yeah,
you know.
I'm glad I didn't do that much stupid stuff, but I got enough out of my system,
Right.
That I'm better. You know, I don't do stupid stuff like that anymore. But I remember as a young, imagine getting, dude, I mean, you get a couple $100,000 as a 29-year-old person. It's like, you know, in Los Angeles as a single guy,
Dude.
You're gonna have a good time, man. So no, I totally get it, and it sounds, when you say $3 million, how can you do that? I can see it, man. I already, if you want to, you purchase a house. You know, I got $1 million. Just like, I want to buy this house. It's $1 million. I'll pay cash for it. Boom. You know, someone wants a. That I get that all the time when sometimes clients will sell their case. So I want to start a business, or someone wants me to invest. I'm like, be careful with that, man, because, you know, I think most people, when someone always asks for money or invest in your business, I'm always err to the caution, man. Most people aren't built for that, in my opinion. So I totally can see that happening.
So we see probably at least 5 to 6 settlements come through our desk on a monthly basis. And from those 5 to 6 cases, typically 3 out of the 5, 3 out of the 6, people come with, "Hey man, my cousin's got a good investment for me." And what we do is, I went to business school. My partner Joe went to business school. Both of us have a degree in finance. We tell them, "Hey, bring us your business plan. Bring the business plan into us. Let us go through it. We're more than happy to make sure that it makes sense for you." In the 13 years we've been doing this, we've gotten one business plan. Nobody has the business plan, right?
No,
so
man.
the thing is everybody, and that's and it's a sad thing, but people want to use their friends' money, their cousins' money. It's like everybody's got to. Everybody wants to get a piece of that pie.
Yeah, exactly. I really believe that, you know, a good entrepreneur, that if you're going to go out and do that, then it needs to be your skin in the game. It's my money on my risk. It's easy to, my opinion, start a business when it's not your money you're gambling. It's someone else's. When it's yours, you're going to treat it differently. So I'm not I defer. I'm very skeptical about that kind of stuff. But yeah. So let me ask you this. How many, out of all your cases, so you structure all different types of cases. From my understanding, you do, smaller ones to the larger ones. About what percentage would you put on it's like wrongful death cases that you structure?
I would say maybe this last year we did about, I would say it was about 20%, 25% of our business.
Okay. And then the others, what is it, like catastrophic injury, or what is it?
We did some catastrophic injury. We did some comp work. We had a couple of really big employment cases. But the biggest one we did last year was a wrongful death.
Okay, I forget you can structure employment. That's interesting. You can pretty much structure any settlement then.
Pretty much any settlement, yeah. And the employment ones are huge for us because at the end of the day, like you're getting this lump sum of money, but it's all taxable. So if it sounds like you're getting, I've heard these people getting $20 million, but at the end of the day, 20 million divided by 50%.
Uncle Sam's is getting his 10.
Is getting his, you know what I mean? Uncle Sam's getting his 10, he gets his 50.
Yeah.
So you get your lawyer's fees, your Uncle Sam fees, and then at the end of the day, you end up with 20% of the value of that settlement. Yeah. People are like, wait a second. So we come and do is we spread it out.
That's interesting you say that because it sounds to me, I mean, structured settlements from my experience so far has been valuable for personal injury cases too, but it sounds like it's almost like you like almost need it more in employment cases. My understanding is that like a wage in our case, those are when they pay that settlement, it's taxable wages. So you can really like help yourself with the tax stuff going on. Okay.
Yeah. But awesome. The PI cases and the wrongful death cases we did, the couple ones last year, they were sad cases, man. Yeah. And at the end of the day, you have children that have a loss.
Yeah.
And when they have that loss, I have 2 children. I would want somebody to make sure that my children were protected. I want to make sure my children, and the great thing is working with guys like you, we see the hard work you're putting into these cases. So these children are ending up with tons of money, and in the wrong hands, it's horrible. It's you did all this awesome work for it to just be depleted the wrong way.
And one thing, guys like us, if we get a good payday, imagine how we feel. We're excited, Right. We're smart. We manage our money, and we're good with that stuff. But we get excited, and we can get impulsive. Can you imagine someone that has never seen that kind of money in their life? Man. Like, so the case we handled, we won't have to share the names, obviously, but I mean, they basically told us that, she's just like, I'm just very grateful. It's like, they just have minimum wage job, right. and the kid, he was only 4 or like 3 years old when his father passed, and right. that guy, when he's 18, he's not going to get all that money at 18. He's right. going to have it structured out, and the mom's very happy and feels more secure with what we're doing now. Right. So, I'll be honest with you. At first, I was like, "This is structural settlement stuff." You were even coming up to me like, "Hey, give you structured settlements." Like, how much do you want? Because everyone's always trying to charge us.
Right.
I get vendors calling me all the time about so when now that I've done one or done a few of them now, I'm like, man, these things are invaluable. And then the other case with the disabled kid, client.
That was huge.
Yeah, definitely, man.
Yeah. We find ourselves in a position sometimes with you being the offensive coordinator and us being the quarterback.
Yeah.
And you tell me, hey, Paul, I need this, and this done. We don't have fees. We're not charging anything. And we're really here to make sure that your clients, we've looked over benefits, state benefits, making sure they're not going to lose eligibility. Mm-hmm. These are things that we can bring to the table that I think add tons of value, because at the end of the day, what good was settling this huge case if they don't take it properly?
Yep.
Right. So
let me ask you this. This because I approach cases different. It depends on the type of case. Wrongful death, serious injury cases. I have a case right now where someone's like crushed your legs in one of those 16-wheeler trucking cases. We have to approach it differently. It's like those wrongful death cases. The clients. I'm like family to them. They have my number. I'm very sensitive to what's going on. Now the small, the soft tissue kind of pain management cases, we treat those cases with respect too, but it's just a different approach in my opinion. How do people are on guard. People don't trust lawyers. People are already on guard with trusting people to manage their money. How do you approach someone that they're going to be getting a $1 million settlement or $500,000, $1 million, whatever, they're going to net that. How do you approach them and make them? What do you do to make them feel comfortable and trust you more with that type of decision? Hey, I'm going to structure your money and hold it for you. Like, how do you deal with that?
Trust is obviously one of the most important facets of what we do. Trust is earned. The other thing too is I wear two hats. I'm a structured settlement advisor as well as I'm a financial planner. These two hats I wear, one, the financial planner, the products that we use have risk. The products that we use as a structured settlement broker and advisor, they have no risk. There is zero risk to these products. So at the end of the day, what we're looking at is how can this benefit your child?
Yeah.
How is this benefiting you now that you've had this catastrophic injury? And how do we make sure that this lasts, X amount of time? And I think that trust is built from the products that we use, because the products we're using are safe. We're not using things that are, and we're not charging a fee.
Mm-hmm.
So I think these things kind of all add up and help the client. But at the end of the day too, once our attorneys are done with their cases,
mm-hmm.
and once you're done, our job continues.
Yeah.
I keep your client forever.
Yeah.
Because they change addresses.
I didn't even think about that.
So as time goes by, man, I've had some amazing relationships with some of the clients that I've had started 15 years ago.
That's awesome. I didn't even think about that, because we're off the case, but then 10 years from now, they're like, okay, well, what's up with this lump sum? Whatever it is, and no, that's I did not think about that. But that when the case we handled, he's going to be 18, like 16 years.
Yeah.
Who knows where I'll be? Hopefully, I'm in Manhattan, my penthouse by then, chilling. But when they start calling me, I'm gonna be like, hey, talk to father, man.
And that's part of the deal too with us is the education process in doing that. When we sit with the clients, or the parents or the guardians, we sit and we try to educate them on the process, on the product, on the tax efficiency, on what happens if a person passes and that money needs to go somewhere, how that's set up, how important a living trust is to this process. So it just doesn't start and stop with just a structured settlement. Mm-hmm. A good advisor is able to bring to the table tons more. And I think that's a good thing.
Let me ask you this, and this is something, it's all transparency. It's funny. I always thought that the structured settlement people took a percentage of the case. That's why I've always been like, when you would come talk to me, a structured settlement game, I don't want to do that. Structured settlement over here. No. I was shocked when I found out that you guys don't take a percentage of the settlement, and I think that the people need to hear that.
Right.
How do you get paid?
I'm
still kind of confused on how you get paid.
Let's clear that up and make sure everybody understands it, because I think that there's always been some gray area to that.
I don't understand it, man.
So there's a commission. There's a commission whenever we sell a product, and typically, and this is actually what I was hoping we would kind of cover in the podcast, because there's two different types of brokers. There's a plaintiff's broker and there's a defense broker. So a lot of the old timers and a lot of the old attorneys that do plaintiff's work now still rely on a defense broker to come in, and that defense broker is working for the defense. Yeah. So what they're doing is they're trying to put numbers in place so that help the defense close a case. You could care less. No. At the end of the day, you want the highest number for your client there is. Once that's numbers settled, then you bring me in. And I'm like, hey, look, okay, they offered $800,000, you ended up getting $1 million. Your client now has $1 million. This is what we're going to do to structure. Yeah. So why that's important is we split a commission. Mm-hmm. So the commission, let's just say the commission's 4%. Defense gets 2%, plaintiffs get the other 2%. So that's how we get paid.
Who pays the commission?
The insurance company.
The insurance company.
But it doesn't come from any bit of the proceeds of your client's case.
Yeah, and that's what people think because I propose that to some clients, and they're so that's where people. I know lawyers. A lot of lawyers don't even know that.
No, and I think that's a really important thing. The other thing too is because I have a financial planning background. Almost everything out there does have fees. If you go to a stockbroker, you're going to pay 1.5%, 2% of your portfolio to the advisor. Yeah. You're going to pay for mutual funds. You're going to pay for index annuities. These are things that, have been set in place by the courts and set in place by insurance companies to really add value to your clients' cases. Yeah. So that at the end of the day, they are, the interest rates aren't high, and
but it's safe.
But it's safe.
It's safe. I've learned that. So there is value in safety.
Absolutely.
Everyone thinks, the index funds and whatever it is you're getting in these returns. It's like, but look at what's going on now.
Right.
I mean, I don't know what you got in your portfolio, but I'm pissed off with Putin. I'm ready to take that dude out. Messing with my money. Fuck Putin, man. That's all I gotta say. He's fucking with my money right now.
The thing too is you like, for us as a coach, like a financial coach, you got to be ready to weather that storm in the market.
Yeah.
These clients, we understand that there's no sophistication to the education that they have. Mm-hmm. So what we want to make sure is that money's safe.
And they can't afford to take that risk.
No.
Man. Like, we can recover, with our jobs, but the typical average person, you don't want them to take that risk. And I think, we want the name any names, obviously, but one of the clients we had, they had proposed, they wanted their money to grow so much, and I want to put it in the market. And I'm like, that's anything you put your money in the market. There's no guarantee. You got to be prepared to lose it all.
Right.
So it all worked out for them what we did. And that's interesting.
And Gabe, that conversation 6 months ago was really easy because you looked at your portfolio and everything was up 12, 13%. So nobody had.
I was already thinking. I was right. Man, I'm good.
So people were coming to us and saying, I don't want 3% tax free when my advisor is saying that they could promise 14. Mm-hmm. I'll tell you what, there's no advisor out there that could promise anything. Yeah. Promises are absolutely obsolete in what we do.
Yeah.
A structured settlement is a guaranteed
Safety.
Product. Yeah. So
Safety.
There's a big difference. Yeah. And the good thing that I think that when you work with somebody like us, what we bring to the plate is I'm educated. I have experience in working with those products. So I can tell you what that can do, how much it will cost you. Yeah. And the long-term, effects of it. Yeah. There's very, very, very few people in our industry that can do that.
Yeah. And the cool thing too is like, and the cool thing about a structured settlement is, okay, say I got $1 million, I'm netting $1 million or netting $500,000, whatever it is. You can be okay. I'm going to structure this 700,000 or 600,000. I'm going to structure that, keep it in whatever the safe, the money market, whatever it is that it basically it's going to be safe. There's not going to be any crazy gains or nothing like that. But I can take that 300,000 and I can put that in the market. I can buy real estate with that and risk that.
Right.
So that's the cool thing about a structured settlement is that you can advise it. Hey, this is safety right here.
Right.
Keep this because it's going to be here for you. And this 200,000 that you're getting, you can just put that buy crypto, whatever the hell you want to do with it.
We all my coaching to clients is a well-balanced portfolio has diversification. Mm-hmm. You have real estate, you have stocks, you have bonds, you have a structured settlement if you have the ability to have one. But you can't just have one. Yeah. Right? Like that just doesn't make nobody puts all their eggs in one basket.
Exactly. Very true. Well, everything I've learned about investing and reading is diversification. The market's down, you still got your safety. You have your whatever is your bonds, your money market, something stable, nothing crazy, but that's what slow and easy wins the race. It's super sexy to see those gains, and I put Vanguard Total World Stock. I like the Vanguard Index funds, and I'm like, man, I'm killing it, and with all this stuff going on, I'm like, shit.
Gabe, and I know you're a baseball fan, and I tell clients I use this analogy all the time. I tell them, look, man, everybody steps to the plate wanting to hit a grand slam. Yeah. Everyone does. Yeah. However, base hits win games.
Exactly.
Base hits win games. Structured settlement is a base hit. Mm-hmm. You are not going to lose. You're going to feel comfortable, and at the end of the day, as the attorney that your client has parceled their money out for 10 years or 15 years or a lifetime, whatever it is. And I think the good thing that we bring to the plate, like I said, is we're not from the defense where they're just giving 5 proposals and you get to choose one. You saw me sit with your clients and build this.
Exactly.
Build these portfolios, build these ideas so that it made sense to exactly and tailored to exactly what they wanted.
Exactly. Yep. So let me ask you this question. Okay, so sticking with this structured settlements and clients investing their money, and if say a client comes up to you and says, okay, like I have $1 million I netted from my father passed away or something bad. I want to structure the $600,000 right here from structure this, but I want to invest this $400,000.
Right.
What do you think, in your experience as a financial professional? What do you think you would advise?
That's a good
as
question.
far as like what would you put your? I know what I would do. But what would you? What
So
would
it just
you do?
depends.
Yeah.
So it's like you guys. Like I have a laundry list of questions that I have to ask. Like so, first of all, I need to know like, are you married? Do you have children? What are your goals? Like, how old are you? Like, are we looking at short term, medium term, long term? So when I build a portfolio for somebody, I take all this data, right? And this data is important because at the end of the day, like I've been through 25 years in the market. So I know, there's ups and downs, there's turbulence. The hardest part of an advisor for us is those years like 2008 when the market was tanking. And I have my clients calling me saying, hey man, I want out. And I have to play defense. I tell them, hey, look, I know it's down 25%, but you got to hold on.
Hold on.
The markets are cyclical. They'll come back. But with regards to what I recommend, it just depends, man. Frankly, the most important part is understanding a client's risk tolerance. What are you comfortable with? You know what I mean? At the end of the day, you need to know like what the upside is, but more importantly, what the downside is. Like, what do you venture to lose? Exactly. So I really feel that understanding risk and understanding, client's risk tolerance can help us build. I'll take a little more.
Also more?
Sure, brother. We'll take building, understanding their risk will help us build the right portfolio.
Yeah, so true. Because there's some people, taking my mom, for example, and my mom's conservative. She's just a little more conservative.
Right.
And she has her house and she has her own business, but it's a family, more family run business, but super conservative. No index funds. I don't really like that, but on the other hand, me, I love that risk, man. And I'm younger too. So it's so true. It's a hard question to ask because it's like if you got someone that had a windfall settlement at 60 years old, they're not really looking to take too many risks anymore. Right. If you got someone that's 29, 30 years old, right? What we can do, but that's true. Yeah.
So the good thing for us too is, like I said, once you learn your client, and it's like you, man, when you're learning your client and you're learning, what you can do with regards to their catastrophic injury and what parts of the law are important to that. We have to do the same thing for our clients. We have to figure out what's important to them, and then in the long run, figure out, okay, man, I'll be honest with you. I've had clients where they've had $1 million, and I know that if we build it out for 15, 20 years, that at year 5, they're going to come asking for some of that money. Yeah. So rather than do that, I'm like, look, man, let's just build it out for 10. Yeah. Instead of going 15, 20 years, let's build it out for 10. They're going to get a little more money every year, but they're never going to, we made this money last 10 years longer than they would have had they had it in their pocket. Right. Yeah. I think that's important. Yeah. At the end of the day, like, we helped hold on to their wealth for 10 years.
No, it's true, man. Very true. Very true. What I was going to ask you is, what exactly, so just for our audience out there, what is a structured settlement? It's kind of giving you a general.
So it's a contract with an insurance company where we place a sum of money and we build it to pay out over a period of time. And I think sometimes the easiest way to think of it conceptually is like a pension. Yeah. So sometimes people put this money into a pension. I need to pay it over the next 10 years. The difference from what a pension is and what we can do is that I can tailor it exactly to what your clients want. Yeah. We recently had a plaintiff's attorney, an older guy in the game, who he asked for five options, and at the end of the day, that's kind of not what we do. Yeah. We don't give 5 options. Like, what we do is we sit down with your client, understand them, figure out what they're looking for, and then build that contract to exactly what their needs are. And I think that at the end of the day, like, that's what we want. You want your clients to be able to walk away with the ability to say, hey, I had this guy build this thing exactly how I wanted it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what are the most common kind of like structured settlement products that there are? Like, is there certain products that they're the most common ones that are used? Or?
So it's all one product, right? So it's not, there isn't funds associated to this. There's not like mutual funds. There's not index funds. This is a deposit where we put money in and it's peeled out over a period of time. That's the best way to explain it. Yeah. the insurance commission is only allowing right now, I think it's 6 insurance companies who are AAA rated to do these types of structured settlements.
Yeah.
Which is huge because there's thousands of insurance companies out there, but they're not AAA rated.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you want to know that you're working with a company that is using products that are guaranteed and that the insurance companies are going to be there forever, right? And that's our job.
Yeah, because I've seen that with some cases I've had. We've had some car accident cases, and then the insurance companies going bankrupt. You're
Right.
like, oh, like,
Right.
Yeah,
And
it happens. It
right.
happens.
At the end of the day, like our documents get, and you know this, they get they're part of the settlement agreement, and they get signed off by everybody. So we need to make sure that we're using the right insurance companies who have the right ability to pay.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
Is it like a
30
certain,
years.
like the top 5 people you're usually going through?
It's the
and
top
they're
5.
Never
It's
going to
like-
go away?
Yeah, it's New York Live, Pac Live, you know,
Okay.
all the big guys.
Okay, cool. Man.
MetLife.
You know, one of the most common things, and this is before I started doing structured settlements, was you get a client that is on SSI disability, and you'd settle a car accident case. So there might not even be a big case, and they're like concerned, like, oh, I don't like, what do I do? I'm going to lose my benefits, because I guess there are some laws that they can only have so much in their account, right? There's
Yeah, 2000. They're actually, the laws are changing as we speak, and they're giving a little more leeway, to my understanding, but they haven't changed yet. And what you can see is that there's vehicles that are in place to protect plaintiffs if they receive a sum of money, so that they don't lose benefits.
So there's some laws coming out right now?
There's laws coming out that change the values that you can keep. But as of right now, you can't have more than $2,000 in your checking account.
But is it with inflation and everything like that, they're changing that?
Yeah, they're changing changing some of that. But we've had many clients where to them they feel that $200,000 is a lot of money, and it is. 200 grand is a lot of money.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, if he's 35 years old and 200,000, that isn't life money,
Yeah,
right?
If he's 35, 200,000 living
Right.
in DTLA.
Yeah, dude, that's
hanging
1 year
out
money.
hanging out with the Kardashians.
That's
a lot of money.
couple months. That's a couple months' money, right?
And I was in New York last week, and fuck that shit. It's so fun over there, but it's how expensive that city is. Like we have a practice over there too. Yeah. So, but I was hanging out in the West Village, and I was just hanging out, visiting some friends, and one of my friends got a new apartment in the West Village. So I go in there, and I'm like, it's literally like this size of half this room, and there's a bed,
It's 2x4,
kitchenette,
tiny,
the toilet, and I'm like,
Don't even
dude,
tell
how
me
much
how
are you
much.
paying?
How much?
$5,000.
Ouch.
But I mean, I love it. Like when you walk out, it's just kind of a magical experience. You walk out of the apartment, and there's a bunch of stuff going on. I was out playing, me and my wife went to go play chess at a little coffee shop. But I get it. Like I see why you're just in an awesome place. That's how people live out there, man. And if you think about it, like 200,000 in Manhattan. Yeah,
dude, I did an internship in 1998 with Oppenheimer Funds in Tower One. This was
oh well, you were actually in the World Trade Center.
Yeah, man, years and years ago. But I just remember leaving work, 5 p.m. and everybody it wasn't even a bar, man. It was like outside a door with a bar and selling beer, and everybody's just hanging outside for a couple hours, just chilling. It was awesome,
that's the
man.
culture.
So much fun.
And I know we're going off topic or whatever, but it's such an awesome place, and I'm still riding high on that trip. I go out there that's the reason why I started practice out there, is because I love the people, the vibrancy, the business opportunity. I just feel like there's so many people like you and me out there that are just hustling, working,
right,
and doing good things for their clients and making things happen. But that just triggered that thought. I'm like, man, like $200,000 and that's and living in the West Village, something like that. Man, yeah. So I get it. At a young age, it's not a whole lot of money, But when you have someone that's a minimum wage worker, that hasn't seen that type of money,
right?
And
as
you upgrade your lifestyle, you start spending more,
Not only that, Gabe, but then you don't want them to lose their benefits.
Yeah.
You don't want them to lose their insurance. And you know that if this money isn't put properly, they could be in a really, really bad place.
Yeah.
So our job is to at least make sure that we've shown them all the stuff and that we've covered you guys so that you guys aren't putting them in a bad position by offering, trusts, by making sure that, we've brought things to the table that will protect everybody.
There's value in security. You know, like when I started learning this, structured settlements, I'm like, man, there's not really, because with my risk mind, I was like, man, there's not really I don't see a lot of money growing.
Right.
But it's like, as I gotten older, I'm like, no, there's value in that.
Oh yeah,
there's value in that. You're still going to beat inflation, but
right.
that's good. But there's value in security, and like growth. Everyone's so caught up on growth and flipping and all this stuff, but to know that money is going to just be with you, and it's safe.
Yeah,
there's value in that.
The other thing too is like a lot of times we've done structures where we're paying things out for a long period of time, and I tell clients, they're like, well, we want to buy a house. I'm like, great, use the structure on your balance sheet. It's income. A bank is dying to see something like this where it's guaranteed money forever.
Dude, they love that.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we're advising, we take all these things into consideration. Like, what's how soon will you think you'll be buying a place? Yeah. Are you looking at a duplex? Like, let's get you connected. The other thing, too, I think that's really neat and something we didn't talk about, but is our community. Like, we've been in business a long time now. Both of us have.
Yeah.
So, over the years, you try people that aren't that good. You try people that are better. And then, but that goes for loan agents, real estate agents. That goes for CPAs. That goes for financial planners. That goes for everything. Yeah. For lawyers, like all of us. Yeah. But you soon, we wind down our networks and they get good, and then you're like, man, I felt very comfortable sending my client to you. I felt really good. So that's, I appreciate it. That's a good thing.
Well, that big case we had in Stockton, and they were, I can just tell, and it's poor family, and I'm like, you know what, like, and especially you speak their language. Yeah. I'm like, you know what. There's no way I'm going to let this kid get that much money at 18. Right. Like, it'd be unethical. Yeah. I was like, let's go ahead and talk to the family and get a structured settlement, man. So, and that worked out. And like I said, they're very grateful for your services. And then,
it's awesome.
So that's the first thing we thought about when we're doing the, wrongful death month, kind of discussing these topics. Like, hey, we're going to get Paul on, man.
That's great, man.
Yeah. So another thing is, for our audience, are structured settlements taxable? Let's talk about personal injury settlements.
Personal injury settlements, as you know, are tax-free. Yeah. Okay. The great thing about a structured settlement with regards to a personal injury case is that the interest is also tax-free.
That's fucking awesome.
It's huge, man. It's huge. Yeah. Like at the end of the day, you can, I have clients where we've put $300,000 and we've peeled out $500,000. That's $200,000 tax-free. Yeah. You and I both know.
Nope. I was like, like this. Uncle Sam goes and takes his cut.
Like,
I'm like, wait a minute, I need my New York City money.
Yeah, man. Like after state, fed, some of these people could be looking at, monsters. The other thing too is like,
I always say, $500,000
tax free.
No, $1 million tax free that's $2 million. So I'm like, I'm always that's easy math. To break it down to them. I'm like, you guys are. I mean,
yeah. And the thing too is we make sure that your clients understand that. Yeah. There's something called a tax equivalency yield. So what does that really mean in taxable dollars? Well, I'll show you. It's you're getting 3.5% tax free, but that's really the same thing as 6.5% according to your tax rate. Yeah. Right. So these are important things that we help educate our clients to make sure that.
What about this? Let's say someone's not a citizen, and how do we work that out?
So they're trickier. They're trickier.
Are we okay to talk about it around
absolutely, absolutely. No, man. They're a little trickier, but we've done them. Yeah. We've absolutely, like, one of the big first cases we did was referred by. Are you familiar with the CRLA? Not sure. They are the Community Rural Legal Assistance, and I think they're up in like
Central Cali.
Central Cali, yeah. Okay. And it was a worker who got hurt, and it was a sad story, man. The guy that owned the farm was trying to offer him $10,000 cash. They ended up settling the case for I think $4 million.
Great, good for them.
And he had no papers, and we were able to do all the planning and make sure that he was set for life.
How about the bank stuff, though? I don't. Am I pressing too much?
No, man. I had to do a trip to Mexico.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to do a trip.
Awesome, man. So that's the type of person I like to work with. Right. It's like you're going to go out of your way to do that because most people might. That's what it takes.
Yeah. And like man, there's a difference.
I'm sure you had fun out there too, though.
Of course.
It wasn't all work.
It's a work trip.
I know it wasn't, man.
We caught a soccer game.
Let me know next time you go out there. Cause,
the thing too is it just depends on what it takes. But I've been to all I've been to 30, 40. I'm licensed in every state. Awesome. So I've been to New York for settlement. I've been to Boston for settlements. I've been all over the place. And like you, man, if it makes sense and we're helping, we're in.
I'm in.
Yeah,
man.
we're
I'll
in.
travel,
We're dedicated.
man. I'll travel. There's nothing. I'll go
Yeah.
sign up a client tonight and go to their house. I'll rub their good case. I'll rub their back and feet, man. I
Yeah,
don't care.
we do what it takes. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, definitely, man. So you work with a lot of attorneys. You work with some very respectable attorneys, man. Like Bernard Alexander, like these guys that I met him at one of your parties. Awesome dude, awesome guy. And what so you worked with all different types of attorneys, the high profile guys that no one really knows about. Let me ask you this: what is it? I don't know how you say this. What do you think your clients, when you talk to them, I'm sure you dealt with this, where a client's like, they might even like you more than their attorney, or you've had some problems where like, I'm not sure about my attorney, I like you. What is the most common gripe you've had, like from clients about the lawyers they're working with?
That's an easy question, really,
Yeah.
because a lot of times plaintiffs and people who've had these injuries, they can't fathom how busy you are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just impossible.
Yeah.
Like, they have seen people work before, but they don't understand that you have two jobs. You are a lawyer, but you also are running a monster law firm. So, like, there is time spent on both those things, right?
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, in order to provide, you have to do all these things. So when I get to clients, they're like, man, I can't get a call back from my attorney. This never happened to you, by the way. But that's the biggest gripe. Like, the biggest gripe
I know
ever
it
hear
hasn't
from
happened to me,
clients.
man.
Yeah.
In my big case, I mean, we're good with that with all our clients, but
Right.
if those big ones, and I'm answering the phone.
That's what I'm saying,
overnight.
and us too. Like,
Yeah.
But the reality is
Yeah.
like, I think a lot of times, like, some people aren't. They just don't. They don't understand how busy you guys are.
Yeah.
So like, when they call, they feel like, I'm not calling to call back in 5 minutes. And you're like, look, man, I'm in court today. I'm not going to be out of court till 7. So you'll get a call at 8 o'clock or whatever the case may be. So a lot of times, and then I think what's nice about us is I tell many clients, I'm an extension of your lawyer's office.
Yeah.
I'm more than happy to cover any calls or answer anything I can on behalf of you, as long as it's in my world, I can answer it. And most of the time it is. Most of it's like things that are really aren't that important to the case, that are more important to them. And I can text you and say, hey man, your client's saying this, and shoot me back an answer, and I'm like, here you go.
Yeah. So it's the most common complaint is the communication. Like,
Right.
I don't feel like they're getting a hold of me, even though they.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, it's just one day that I didn't call.
Right.
But that's common. And I think you just have to have good systems in place.
Yeah.
Where we tell our staff, like, hey, they should be getting updates to you at least every 2.5, 3 weeks, at least.
Yeah.
The obviously the bigger files, like, they have my cell phone. I don't answer whenever.
Right.
I'm not married. I don't have kids. All I do is think about all I'm doing. My whole
Yes.
purpose is for you. That's what I tell. So
I am married. I have kids, but at the end of the day, like, I have to be able to answer these calls too, because I got clients just like you, man. That I got clients that are in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
So I got to be on call all day, all night.
Yeah. So we talked about the most common things clients can complain about their lawyers, but what about without naming any names, what don't you like when you're working with some clients, and what do you like? Like, what things do you know that bug you? Without hurting my feelings. No,
man.
I'm just joking.
The hard. Some of the hard part for us is what has been done in the past is there was only defense brokers up to about 5-6 years ago. We are like new. Plaintiff brokers like me, for structured settlement advisors, are new. So a lot of the old lawyers are used to having an old broker just shoot you numbers, and then you're selling it to the client. And it's kind of hard for us when, like, I don't do things that way. I need to meet your client, man. In order for me to build this right, like, I need to be seating with your client, right? Like, I need to know it. Otherwise, they're going to get a defense, and then before you know it. So this is important for your audience to know as well. When a person sells their structured settlement, it's like, you've probably seen the commercials of like J.G. Wentworth or like Peachtree, all these, these companies. They give them 30 cents to like 40 cents on the buck. So they prey on these people.
So you're getting,
right?
Yeah, you're losing money.
Your clients are losing.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, if that wasn't planned properly, it's a huge miss on behalf of the structured settlement broker.
Yeah.
So for us, like I said, I don't work for defense. I'm not shooting you five examples and letting you. I'm building this so that your client understands, like, look, man, and like I said, it goes back to that conversation. Maybe it wasn't meant to be 20 years. Maybe it was just 5.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 7. Maybe it was 20. Like, let us build it so that your client has some comfortability. But it's hard. Some of the old guys, they don't like that.
So you're saying, so is it that your gripe is that maybe the older attorneys are just set in their ways a little bit?
Right.
And
Yeah.
that. Okay.
Yeah, and it's hard because I think a lot of them have heard like, hey man, Paul Vega does a great job, or his team's doing great. But when they use it, they're like, man, we just want you to send us this. And I'm like, that's not how we work. Like, in order for us to do it like the right way, I need to sit with your client. I need to make sure that we've done the right due diligence to make sure that they are comfortable with the product they have.
So what is it that makes your job easier? Is this more just like, hey, we're working together? What is it that as an attorney I can do to make your experience more great?
If every attorney was like you, I'd be stoked.
Oh, awesome. Thank you, brother.
No, I mean, I'm seriously, man. It really
Thank
is.
you, man. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
We had a few cases together, man. And like I said, man, we got great reviews, and
That's
they were
awesome.
like, yeah.
I feel like we're boutique. We don't work with everyone. We work with a few, but the few we work with are great clients. Our attorneys are great attorneys, and we have awesome results. And most importantly, like my team, Joe and Ryan, their service is impeccable.
Yeah.
So I think
They're
like
great
with
guys,
that, yeah. So I think a lot of it has to do with servicing, like you, man, like you said, like if your team is getting a touch to your people once every week,
Do your best,
right?
You do your best, and that's what we and that's all they want.
Yeah.
I think that's all they want. Yeah. But so let me ask you this. So one of the things I've learned recently is attorney fee structure.
Oh yeah.
And I'll tell you what, I thought that was a bunch of bullshit too. But as I gotten older and I made more money, and this fucking tax bill and all this shit,
Yeah,
I'm
man.
like, you know what? I might have to think about this,
Right.
especially on some of the cases we have right now. I don't want to. I need to might want to structure this.
Right.
so what is an attorney fee structure?
Right.
And what are the benefits of it?
So it's giving you the ability to parcel out your money over a period of time. So instead of getting one tax hit on $1 million, you're able to say, okay, look, Paul, give me 10 payments of $100,000 with interest built in, so maybe $110,000, right? But the idea is not necessarily the interest. It's I'm not paying the taxes yet. I'm able to defer. And then I think what happens for guys like you is you've deferred out, so now you've got steady income for next year.
Yeah.
But it gives you the ability to like say, okay, look, man, I'm not going to take that case because I've got this money coming in.
Yeah.
I can actually go for like a harder case, or I can take a bigger case because I've got enough things coming in, so it allows me to take the big ones and the ones you want.
So the best. Sometimes someone told me this when I was starting, when I was a little bit younger. They were like, the best case, Gabe, is sometimes no case, and it's so true.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times have we've taken a case and we're like, man, I'm losing money. This guy's calling me every day. He's just like not a good person. I don't want to go to trial with this guy. He's not likable, and it takes away that attention from the cases that need you. So. So is it that the attorney fee structure, the main benefit is the tax
deferral?
Okay.
Tax deferral is the most important feature, I think. Yeah.
So you're basically say you have say I settled let's just say I settled a $2 million case today and I get $4 million fee. I settled it today, so we're in 2022. Are you saying that if I structure, let's just say I wanted a mill for the next 4 years, I'm only going to get taxed on that mill for the next 4 years?
Correct.
I'm not getting taxed on that 4 mil.
That's absolutely correct.
Okay.
But the other thing too, like what we usually suggest and like when we sit down is, man, we build that plan specifically for you. So like I'd say, hey, Gabe, why don't you keep $1 million?
Yeah.
Because that $1 million is going to give you some operating cash right now. Plus, like I don't know about you, but for me and like my clients, man, like I want to have a little piece of the pie too. Like I've worked hard. I feel like I deserve a little bit. We're human, right?
Yeah.
So I take that into consideration. And then what we do is we say, okay, look, if you build, you keep that $1 million, you got 3 more to work with. We stretch that out for 4 or 5 years. Then what we do is we also look at, okay, look, you did that. Are you doing the 401k? Are you doing the deferred comp? Are you doing all these things that help you reduce your tax liability? And at the end of the day, what ends up happening is you have this big bucket of money when you're 59, 60, so for retirement. But you also have built all these structures, so they kind of meet in the middle. And like at 45, you're like, look, man, I'm covered. I've got all this structure.
It's coming.
Money, right?
We're gonna structure 10 million soon, baby. It's coming.
Yeah,
it's coming, man.
We're all
all gonna go. my social media. We're gonna party.
Let's
man.
do it. Let's do it, man.
We're gonna. No, man, it's important, and when you make, when you break that threshold, you see like,
right.
man, this tax, like I might as well, how much is it that I need to cover my overhead,
right.
My marketing expenses, whatever it is, and it's better just to structure that out,
right.
And just take that big hit.
At the end of the day, it's not what you make, it's what you keep, right? And that's huge. Like you want to keep more of that money in your pocket. And the other thing, like I said, is it gives you flexibility. It gives you more than anything flexibility.
Do a lot of your clients do the structured fees? Or?
Yeah,
really?
We've done a ton. I think they're an important part of the process. Yeah. And at the end of the day, at least if I've offered it to you and told you, hey, look, man, this is what you're looking at.
Yeah,
it's up to you. I'm not the kind of type of guy that like I'm gonna twist your arm. That.
I like that because for me, there's security. Although I like taking risks as an entrepreneur, that. I think there is value in like for me, like having peace of mind. Hey, I got 6 months operating cash in the account. Like as long as, and I know if we have a big settlement like that, we have it structured where at least I'm gonna have a 6 months to a year operating cash coming in guaranteed.
Right.
I'm good, So
another important feature,
my marketing budget, whatever it is,
you could build it and pay it to your corp, which is huge because at the end of the day, it gives you the ability to hire more attorneys. So you can offset all that income you're getting, hiring more people,
and
having more
attorneys are costing more money,
marketing money, and it gives you the ability to take better cases, right?
Yeah,
so it's huge.
Man, these guys they're costing so much money coming out of law school, man. Yeah,
man, that's the word on the street. Everybody's saying the same
couldn't
thing.
believe it. Like, I graduated 2012. My first job out of law school, I made $45,000 a year, working fucking crazy hours, man. These kids are getting a crazy 6-figure salary plus a percentage on your cases. The bar exam's easier. I just want to get your opinion on this because you're a non-lawyer. Bar exam's 2 days, lowered the test score. I'm like, what? And what? It's right now the job market. It's crazy, man. There's not like these people don't want to fucking work.
Yeah.
What do you think? From my opinion, I don't like it. I don't like how the bar exam's easier. I don't like the entitlement. Like, do I need to just adapt, or what is it? What do you think about this thing, man?
It's a very simple thing. Cream rises to the top, man.
Yeah.
And I really mean that. I think it's disheartening because you've put tons of hard work and a lot of my clients, the attorneys I work with,
they say the same thing. Like,
man,
I'm like, dude, there was value in that, Paul. I grinding, man.
I hear it. And what we're hoping is that I think what you'll see is that your hard work kind of resonates, and at the end of the day, you're going to end up with all this hard work, all these great cases. Those other people,
yeah, man,
it's a different route and it's a different path. But I don't think it leads to the same place, man. I think that you guys, your ability to outwork people, your ability to understand business better, because you've grinded, right? Like that's important, man.
It's like you appreciate it so much. It's just something that's been on my mind. We're hiring right now. I'm like, man, like if whoever we bring in, like we want them to we want someone from the gutter, like someone that appreciates everything.
Yeah.
So. I think they should make it bar exam harder.
Yeah.
I know I'm going off topic, but I was just thinking about that earlier. And I'm like, man, I wonder what you think. What do you think about that? So, one of the podcasts I was listening to, Mike Alder's podcast, and you guys are talking about a qualified settlement fund. What is that? And then, because I forgot what the hell you guys are talking
QSFs
about.
are a very, very different animal.
Yeah.
A qualified settlement fund is a fund in which you park money, and there's still a lot of laws that are being scrutinized as these things are used properly and improperly, right? Because people are parking money, and some people are using them to avoid taxes. But that's not the reason you use them. A QSF is used so let's just say there's multiple claimants on a case, and you're trying to hone in. One person wants to do this, the other person doesn't want to do that. You park the money in the QSF, and it gives you time to figure out how who wants what and how it's supposed to be paid out. But I think that there's a misnomer, and I think that there's a a lot of people who don't use them properly, and that's why they're being scrutinized a little bit more now than before.
Bro, I never heard of it till I listened to
Yeah.
that podcast a little bit. So, is it that? So it's a common situation that happens. So there's there's an accident and Uber driver's involved, and say he was speeding, he ran a red light, and he injured 5 vehicles in front of him, whatever
Right.
it is. So you're saying that Uber's like, okay, something bad happened, where's $1 million?
Right.
And then obviously, there's some lawyers that are slow as hell and that they haven't done any shit on the
Right,
case.
right, right.
We're like, hey, let's hurry up and settle this thing. So you're saying that $1 million settlement is going to
A QSF.
and it's building while we're waiting to resolve it? Or what is it?
It's not building. So let's just say the five plaintiffs, and let's say plaintiff A wants to do a structure. Plaintiff B isn't sure quite yet. Plaintiff C still has liens. This gives you the ability to the insurance company to dump the money, settle the case, and then everybody figure out what they're going to do with the money in particular. So you're not worried about your client who's already done. Get your money, you're out. The other people are still.
Oh, so you pretty much, so instead of waiting, it's
buying time.
That's the wait. So because I have some case, there might be one on my desk right now where I'm like waiting for this slow ass lawyer to hurry up. I mean, I get my money in this.
Right.
I mean,
and you get
deal with
paid.
it.
Right.
What's the downside of it?
They're expensive.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I
you know,
take a tax.
yeah.
I take a.
You don't. Your client does. They have to pay for it. Yeah.
How much do they?
It just depends. A lawyer will draw them up, and they're charged per the dollar value.
That's interesting because some people, it's not their fault, and it's just someone that hasn't submitted their demand yet, and that might like, hey, this is our option. We can do this. It might cost you a little bit. So okay, that's interesting. I didn't know what that was. So, let's see here. So going back to the business owner aspect of what we do, and it's always cool talking to small business owners and people that are growing their companies. What do you think is the most challenging thing about running your own operation?
Yeah, that's a fun question because I
You're
started
doing
my
so
business.
good, man. Sounds like
well,
you don't have any challenges. No,
Yeah,
that's
well, I
fine.
started my business 2007.
Well, go back to
But 2000,
your first 5 years in.
Man, I think you take that leap of faith and you're kind of like,
Wow.
I'm not sure where I'm going to go, but I mean, it's funny because I think that you're cut from the same thread in which you just put your head down, you grind, and then cases start to settle. For us, like counts start to get closed. We start to manage more money. Before you know it, there's income coming in. You're kind of like, okay, I thought that was going to be a lot harder than it was, but we're grinding. We'll put my head down for another year. Pick your head up, and you got more clients. Looking back, it feels good to know where we started and where we're at.
Isn't that crazy to see that?
Oh man,
Dude,
it's
I
nuts.
I pitched myself in the arm like I remember I was moonlighting, and I was in an insurance defense firm, and I was working. I was coming home from work at 7 and still working on my own little thing, and had a little Koreatown studio paying like $1,000, something cheap as fuck. And it's just cool that no employee. I was the intake person. I was the case manager. I was answering calls on my break, and to see where you're at, it's kind of cool, and to see that.
Yeah, and there's there's been years. I mean, I got scared during the pandemic because I remember 2008 was horrible, man. 2008 when the stock market kind of just was obliterated, the real estate market just went to nothing. There was not a horizon on sight.
See, I was broke as fuck as 2008. I was a broke ass college kid, so I didn't know.
But once you made it through that year,
Yeah.
the following year was awesome.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, okay, look, man, I don't think God's willing, it won't even get worse than that, financially. So you're like, okay, I can adjust now. And just like you, man, a business owner, you have to be able to adjust to the different climates that are, the markets present, the different climates that your clients present. But I would say the hardest part is for me is the marketing, man. It's I'm already with children that are older, so I don't like to leave. I coach them their games. I'm a coach on the weekends, and when I see that they're having these really fun and awesome, amazing like Cabo San Lucas, retreats for lawyers, I would love to be there, but I'm coaching.
It's
and
just
I'm
a reason to party, man. You're not missing nothing. Yeah, don't think be your kids. It's just,
But that's
you already got the business, man. You want to go party. No, I hear you on that.
But it's hard because sometimes, I mean, man, I suffer from FOMO. You know what I mean? Like the fear of missing out's horrible. Man, I see everybody else partying out there. I know. Man, I would love to be out there, but staying motivated to market. I mean, that's a hard thing, man.
Yeah, I love it, but like I'm not married. I don't have any kids, so it's like this is what I love to market. I love to get out there, but I hear you. It's and especially if you have, I go home. I'm good. I can go out and go marketing right now. But no, I hear you. And the marketing itself is a whole nother thing. It's a whole nother thing. So. No, that is a challenge. I'm sure.
Yeah,
definitely.
But it's fun too, man. Like I've told you before, marketing with friends like you.
Yeah.
We go to a Dodger game. It's not like marketing, man. We sit there, we enjoy the game, we get drinks, we have fun, we bullshit. Like that's to me, like that's why I do this job, because I'm working with my pals, I'm working with my friends, and like everybody's getting ahead together, right?
Yeah.
So
I always tell people. I think for me, people ask me, how do you get to business so easy? And I never really thought about it because it came natural to me, but. I really tell people it's like you just build relationships, man. Stop thinking for sale. Stop trying to sell so much. Like, don't manipulate. Just be yourself and build trust and build a relationship with someone. And they're gonna send you business. Right. If you work hard and you take care of people, you're gonna be all right. It's when you're trying and you're selling too much, or you just have a shit personality. You got to be outgoing. Right. It's just nothing. You can be a great attorney, but if you're just not likable and you just think you're better than everyone, you got to be willing to go sit down and go to that person's house that is in an neighborhood that you probably wouldn't hang out in. Right. And you got to be able. They have to, and that's what it takes to build that. You just gotta. It's really simple. Build relationships.
Right.
Be transparent. Be trustworthy. People know when you're not being genuine. I've done that before when I was starting off.
But I can tell you that my experience with your client, it was unique because at the end of the day, they said you were empathetic. You were empathetic to the situation, and to me, man, that's huge. Like, not a lot of lawyers, have that empathy side to them. It's like, sometimes we're so busy that it's hard to recognize when somebody just needs, a pat on the back or a shoulder to cry, or just to sit there and listen, right? Like, we're busy, man. We move like this, and like the ability to slow down and just like understand people's like, hey man, this guy's hurting. Yeah, he just needs to just talk right now, and like I'll sit through this one. And I get it too. I think your clients were like really, really grateful that you were empathetic to that.
That's a good compliment, but no, I hear you. It's because we're so busy, and it's like, oh fuck, someone's calling, fuck, whatever. I got to do. But you got to remember, these people they're not used to this. They haven't dealt with a lawyer, never had like someone die in their family from a car accident. Right. So you have to take that call and acknowledge that, like, hey man, this person is reaching out to me. Right, it's like they don't know. Like, I know when I call you on 1:00 on a Tuesday, I'm not surprised if I don't get to you because I know you're their clients. And I get it. I understand them. I'm a business guy. They don't know, man. This is the first time like they're dealing with that situation. So you have to talk to them, like, acknowledge that, like, hey, you're the attorney. They're looking up to you. They're trusting you with something big in their life,
And honestly, I feel like that's the difference between the good attorneys and the great attorneys, is the ability to be empathetic. Like, I really do. The great ones are able to.
That, man. I like when you. I like when I got a big ego. I like when people say great. I like that.
But it's true, man. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like to be able to just say that, man, it means a lot.
That's cool.
People really respect that, and that's important.
At the end of the day, man, I tell it to my staff. I'm like, listen, guys, like, yes, we're a business. We need to make money. Money is important, to keep the lights on, keep the payroll. At the end of the day, you have to remember when they call you and you're frustrated about something. Remember, they never dealt with a lawyer before. They don't know this process. It's the first time. So you educate them and counsel them a little bit. I know it's easy to get irritated, but you understand where they're coming from a little bit. And when they do that, they understand that everyone's on the same team. And those big cases that I share with them when we have these wrongful death cases. Hey, listen, this person said this much about how they were treated good. They loved our Donnie. They loved our paralegal. They loved, you guys helped them. Like, that's something you're going to, you can live with, knowing that you did good for some people, So, let me ask you this. And in our profession, the reality is that we're minorities. There's a lot of predominantly Caucasian attorneys. It can become the old boys kind of club still. Hell, even in our own Hispanic community, you have that going on.
Right.
Do you feel like there's any inequality or not disadvantages, but do you feel like, we as Hispanics, we have to not prove ourselves but work? Is it easier, you think, in certain ways for someone else?
It's definitely not easier for us.
I know it's a race thing,
Yeah.
and I'm very open about it, but I don't think,
I'll tell you what, it's definitely not easier for us. However, I've always used it as a badge, man. I've worn that as a very distinct badge on my shoulder, and I'm very comfortable in being like, I am a Latino guy.
Yeah.
I am Mexican American. Mm-hmm. This is how I was brought up, and I think that
we're the same. I'm the same thing with you, man.
The other thing too is, I think what's important too is these cases that you're settling for clients, they grew up the same way I grew up.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up with no silver spoon.
Yeah.
My parents didn't work.
We just had hardworking parents.
Had hardworking parents who believed in education and loved us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think, to me, like, when I see those guys who have been spoon fed, and man, I went to one of the best all boys private school here in.
But your parents worked their asses off to get you there.
That was what they did. They worked to get me there. Me and my brother, and they did. I'll take some more. Yeah, please. They worked to put us through to get educated. My brother's a lawyer, and I'm a financial planner, and it worked out right, man. Like, that was the equation.
Yeah.
So I'm very conscious of that, because I think our clients, like I said, most of our clients, and I don't know if you've had them, are not silver spoon fed clients. These are people that come from humble backgrounds, and like, they want to know that we've had those same experiences, right? And like, I'm willing to work for you, and I understand where you're going with this money.
And I've been there. I've been in that home. Yeah, it's so true, man. Cheers, brother.
Cheers, man.
It's so funny you say that, because I think we had the same kind of upbringing. I didn't grow up poor.
Yeah.
I didn't grow up poor. My mom was a registered nurse. My dad worked at the cemetery growing up. Middle class family. My mom started her own home health care business, and I grew up middle class life. But I think what we both have in common is our parents. We had good parents. I didn't grow up in the hood.
Me neither.
I didn't have to deal with gangbanging, shit like that. I'm just some guys. There's guys that had it hard out there. But I think when my parents, for me, hard work, just seeing them, that was just something that was normal to me.
Yeah.
I saw my mom, get up super early to go to the hospital as an ER nurse. I saw my dad work graveyard shifts. Hard work was just normal in our culture, and so it came off and made us who we are. One of the things I think that made me who I am is my mom was a home health care nurse. After she got out of the hospital, as an ER nurse. And she would take me to her patients' homes, and as a little kid, and had a leukemia kid patient, cancer patient, AIDS patient, whatever. She would show me. So I was going into these homes at a young age, and she taught me just humility growing up.
Right.
So, she would have the old white wealthy client that was dying of cancer, and we had the Hispanic client, that was dying of cancer. Same thing. So I went through that, but. What I would have to say, and I think it's true, I don't think it's any easier. I know that white privilege is there. My best friends are white. I love them. Some of my fucking brothers are white. I love them to death, and I go to war for them. But I think that there is some truth in that. I don't think we have it easier. I think that I know that some of my Jewish friends that are attorneys, they I always tell them, like, we always have this debate like about certain political things, and I'm like, you know what, it's. You have to understand that, most of my, when I have Caucasian clients and they love me, when they they hear me talk and they know how hard I work, they love me. You have 90% Caucasian clients, and I have about 20%. Why is that? And I think it's because maybe that they're just more comfortable with you.
Right.
And you have Hispanic, you have all these different races, but I have mostly Hispanic and I have this, but. So I think I always tell them, like, we always have this debate. I'm like, I think you have a little more privilege and you have it a little bit easier than us, and that's okay. And that's okay, because then I was like, I'm crushing it too. But I think that does exist, and I don't think there's enough discussion about it in our profession.
Right.
It's not an equal playing field. It's not. we're not complaining about it. We're winners. We're gonna go.
Right.
Give me an obstacle, we'll overcome it. But I think it'd be for guys like us to say that they acknowledge that isn't there, and that we have a harder. It's a little bit. We have a little bit more of a challenge to obtain those clients and get that trust.
Right.
When they hear you talk and they hear how educated you are and they understand how educated we are, they'll change the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. I'm wondering if you feel the same, but I almost feel sometimes though I have a responsibility to our culture, to our people, to make sure that I want to do the best for you.
Yeah.
I want to make sure that when you came to me that you walked away knowing like there was nobody out there that was going to do better than what I did.
I feel that the same with my, and my Hispanic clients say, I'm a fourth generation Mexican American.
Same here.
My Spanish sucks, but they still, they love me because of my last name. They do.
Right.
I have a couple Korean clients. Usually you see typically Korean clients stick with their own. When they hit me, when they call me up, I make sure I want to let them know, like I want to change when they leave my firm and they get that result. I want to let them know that I want to change their belief system. Like, hey, you know what? I can come to this Hispanic guy and I can trust them in my case, my family's case.
It's awesome.
So, I want them to have no doubt in their mind about that. Like, hey, this guy is a hustler. This guy's hardworking. He's a very talented lawyer. So, yes, I give that commitment to all my clients.
Right.
But I always have a little checklist on, okay, who are the non-Hispanic clients? Yeah. I'm going to let you know. And then there's some people that I have, Caucasian clients, that are like, man, I fucking love you.
Yeah. Of course, yeah.
But we have, but it's like we have a little more, we have to prove a little bit more, so.
Having a little more responsibility, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. So, one of the things I want to talk about, last thing I want to talk about here is this whole crypto meta. Are you familiar with the metaverse thing?
Yeah.
A little bit?
I have a lawyer who's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Who we would play pickleball every morning. He's like, dude, did you check your Bitcoin? Did you check your Ethereum?
Yeah.
And like I hadn't had any. And during the pandemic, I bought a little of about 4 or 5 cryptos. Yeah. But I'll be honest, I'm not very vested, I would rather build a stock portfolio.
That's how I am too, man. Yeah. I'm like, I get it. I see the value in it, but I'm still kind of like, it's unregulated. I don't think the government's how are they gonna tax it? There's too much unknown with it yet.
Right.
But one of the things me and the staff were playing, we have our VR, what's the Oculus thing we're doing. And we're like, hey, you know what? Why don't we let's play with this. Let's see how much it costs to buy some land in the metaverse on Decentraland, and we could start a law firm there. And
all right.
We can we'll put our logos. So we're already in the process of doing that.
Oh shit, that's cool.
So we're like, you know what? I think in case the young kids are eventually gonna do everything with their Oculus
Dude,
on.
that's fucking brilliant.
And we're gonna be like, hey, we're gonna, and Ronnie, whatever, he's got all the billboards in LA. He's not gonna fuck with me in the metaverse.
But dude, the funny thing you say that is my kids play Roblox. They play all these games, and they build villages. They build all these crazy things. So that's where things are happening, right? My mind just exploded right now.
We're 10 years apart or something, but it's like, we think it's crazy, but the young kids, man.
It's true.
So I'm like, you know what, we're we're already looking at, getting a little land, the central land.
That's so cool.
We've already played with, Mark Zuckerberg's, I can't remember the freaking name of it, man. It's not Zoom, but it's, workspaces on Oculus, and we have, we're like, hey, let's just get a little bit of something here and start throwing some ads out, because people, when you go on that, you put the Oculus on, they're walking around, and I'm like, hey, man, do some branding right there.
There's opportunity there.
So, I mean,
that's great.
I'm still, I think it's a very high risk thing still. Right. I think it hasn't played out yet, but it's something to look out for.
No doubt, no doubt.
Do you think there'll be a time where there'll be crypto structured settlements and anything like that? Or
man, that's a long ways away.
Yeah, I think so. I'm the same way as you, man. And the guys that are really, some of my friends that are multi-millionaires, they say the same thing. We're like, I don't think we're gonna get rid of regular currency yet. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think it's good to get in on this a little bit, but Yeah, it's true. I think it's something to watch out for. It's another medium where you can brand yourself,
Right.
and another
It's an opportunity.
way to
For
sell your
sure.
services.
Yeah, it's an opportunity for sure.
To whoever's in
My
hanging
mind
out
exploded
there.
when you said branding yourself in the metaverse.
Dude,
That's
dude,
brilliant.
we're fucking putting a billboard up in Decentraland. We're gonna
That
have
is
my
so cool.
fucking face. We're gonna have like
Yeah.
we're having it's crazy, dude. Like
Yeah.
it's nuts. You can walk into our office, and we're already trying to building it out where you walk in, and it has our staff, and we're doing this hybrid thing at work right now where we're gonna experiment with it. Like, okay, let's just if someone wants to meet with us in the metaverse, whatever it is, then we'll fucking put our Oculus on and
That's
go in
so
there
badass.
and sign them up and do our little.
Why not?
And see, because I don't think it's our generation, but I think the younger kids they're going to be open to that.
You are absolutely
instead of going
correct.
to your physical office, hey, why don't you get your
Meet me in the
go and
verse.
meet us in the metaverse?
Yeah. I think you're absolutely correct.
Yeah,
No doubt about
it's
it.
It's something it's good to look into and not ignore.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Definitely, man. Definitely. And I always wonder too, what's gonna happen if like you get assaulted in the metaverse? Like, are we gonna have like lawyer metaverse lawsuits?
I
Like,
don't
it's
know,
crazy.
but I'll tell you what. Like, my kids will be on these games for hours.
Yeah.
But like they'll have little kids like break into their little house, and then they'll go and they'll shake hands.
Yeah.
And like people are like the kids are learning to be amicable in these little universes.
Yeah.
So maybe it's different, man. Maybe but I do think like advertising.
Oh, dude,
There's something
whatever-
there.
Get in where you
There's
can.
something
man.
there.
Yeah, get in where you can. But yeah, it's a wrap. So I'm going in there. I'm gonna be. My face is gonna be all over that shit.
Good for you, man. Yeah.
Cool, man. Wait, Paul, then thank you so much for coming on. And you're the first person I thought about when we were talking about wrongful deaths and structured settlements. And, it's a lot I've learned a lot just listening to you. But I look forward to working with you in the future. And I appreciate you coming on our show, man.
Okay, man. Thank you for the opportunity.
Appreciate
I appreciate
it,
it,
brother.
brother.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Beyond the Bar. If you enjoyed this episode, please share and subscribe to the podcast. For more podcast episodes, please visit sepulvedalawgroup.com/podcast.